Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to go over your credit score. More specifically, we're just going to discuss what your credit score is, what does it mean, what's it used for, why you want to get this up, and then we're going to go over 5 tips that's actually going to help you start building your credit score today. So, hello, and welcome back. So, if you guys are new here, my name is Marcus, and I do like to make a video every week, or I try to make a video every week that's just going to discuss finances, investing, and really just try to help you get closer to your financial goals. So, if you are new here, do like the video and subscribe to the channel, turn on your notification, just so you get notified every time I put up a new video. All right, so let's just get straight into it. So first off, what is a credit score, right? Now, the credit score is simply, the simplest way I can put it is basically think of it as like a report card that credit lenders are going to look at and read and assess to try to determine how good you are with money, how responsible you are with money, to sort of assess the risk when it comes to lending to you, right? Because obviously, you're not going to want to lend your money to someone that is not very, not the best at handling money. And obviously, if you're someone in a bad financial situation, then that's a higher risk when it comes to lending you money, because that means there's a higher chance I might not get my money back. And so basically, the credit score ranged from 0 to 1,000, and depending on how good you are with money, how good you are at paying your bills, your score can land anywhere from within that range. So 0 to 300, not very good, and then you've got 300 to 500, which is just below average. 500 to 700 is considered very good, good credit, and then 700 and above is considered excellent credit, right? You're fantastic with money, and it's actually very hard to get above 700. Now that have a brief kind of summary of what the credit score is, let's just kind of go over really quickly why you might want to have a really good credit score, right? So the first reason is having a good credit score is actually going to allow you to negotiate for better interest rates when you're going to apply for a loan, whether that's your mortgage. When you're talking about taking out those large sums of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes in the millions, a really good interest rate on your mortgage is really important. It's going to determine whether you pay tens of thousands of dollars more than what you could have potentially if you had a really good credit score, right? So that's the first thing, right? You're able to negotiate, and most likely will get really good interest rates based on how good your credit score is. So another reason why you might want to get your credit score up is you're going to actually be able to choose the best deal amongst the different financial providers, right? Obviously, for all the lenders, ideally for lenders, they all want to get the best clientele. They all want someone that's got, obviously it shows very good at paying back their debts, really good at handling their money. So they're more willing to give the better deals out to those with good credit scores, right? So you'll actually be able to select the best deals amongst the different providers. And then, of course, a third reason why you might want to get your credit score up is you might actually then be eligible for different bonuses or other benefits when it comes to having a good credit score, right? So, for example, like a credit card, they might actually offer you a higher tier credit card, which comes with better rewards, or some loan companies, they'll package their loan and mortgage and everything together with other either cashback deals, air points, whatever you call it. They're more inclined to give that to those with really good credit scores as a way to incentivize those with great credit scores to come to them, right? Because at the end of the day, the lenders, they want to lend their money out to responsible people, and so they'll do their part to sort of kind of attract those with good credit scores to them, right? So really good interest rates, great deals with the different providers, and then obviously you might be able to get different benefits and add-ons from other providers, right? You might have a special access to certain bonuses. All right, so those are some of the reasons that you might want to get your credit score up. All right, guys, so now that we know what a credit score is and why you might want to get that up, let's go over 5 really easy things that you can actually start doing today to get your credit score up, to build your credit score up to that magic 700 number, right? So the first thing, and it's actually a really easy and really obvious one, is you got to pay your bills on time, right? I mean, duh, right? So you've got to pay, obviously any loans that you might have, any credit card payments that are due. But it's not just limited to that, right? It's, your electricity bills, your internet bill. Those are all financial institutes that also lend out credit, right? So you need to pay those on time, because simply missing a payment or being behind on payments can really put a dent in your credit score, or if you're trying to build it back up. And that's going to lead us into the second tip. Another easy one that you guys can do right now is to dispute any errors that's on your credit report. And you can actually do this really easily on something like Credit Simple. I did this and it took about 15 minutes. You simply log on, put your details in. First off, it's actually going to tell you what your credit score is, because I can guarantee you that most of you watching this video might not know your credit score. Because if you're looking into a video that's going to help you get started on building your credit score, you might not know where you are. So just logging on something like that, a free website, Credit Simple, it's going to help you know where you stand, and also they also will provide a report of your credit history, and then you can actually go through that, and there'll be certain things that stand out. And if there's anything on there that's you disagree with or you don't think should be on there, you can actually then query that, right? You can actually dispute that and get that cleared off, because that's the only way you can actually get something off your credit score, is if you dispute it and if you're right. So it's really, really easy to do. You just follow the instructions on whatever site that you're on. Just go through the credit report and just dispute any errors that might be there, right? Because if you don't know, if you don't check, and if you don't know that there's something on there that's harming your credit score, then how are you going to fix it, right? So hop onto one of those websites, check it out. Find out what your credit score is. First off, you might already be in the 700 range, and you don't need to watch the rest of the video. But for those of us who aren't there yet, stay tuned, because the other 3 tips are pretty good and pretty easy as well. Tip number 3, and that is to keep any credit card balances that you might have low, right? So this one's important because any potential lenders that, obviously, if you're applying for credit, they're going to look into the credit. They actually might check how much credit you actually have, or what your credit limit is, and how much of it that you've used. And if they kind of see that your credit cards are either all maxed out or they're really close to being maxed out, they might consider you to being on the edge of financial crisis, right? So that's not a good look, and it might make you look like a bit of a risky, it might make you appear to be more risky than you really are, right? So they might not want to lend to you, or they might put in some special terms and conditions, because obviously they view you as a riskier client. So make sure you keep your credit card balances low. Don't be hovering around either maxed out or very, very close to maxing out your credit cards, because that can make it quite difficult for lenders to lend to you. Now, before we carry on with the rest of the video, if you've made it this far and if you've gotten any value out of this video at all, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel. Liking the video is a really simple way just to show your support, and it actually helps out a whole bunch with putting the video in front of other people that might get value from this and might be able to help them, share this with them and help someone else out. So if you are enjoying the video, if you're getting value out of it so far, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. With that being said, let's get into the 4th tip. And the 4th one is keep your credit card accounts open. Don't close them. Okay, so I know that might be a little bit weird coming off, tip number 3, whereas having, maxed out credit cards or near maxed out credit cards is bad. Closing out credit cards, it's not necessarily going to improve your credit score, but it might actually hurt it. And this is why. So when you have credit cards that are open and have been open for a long time, credit lenders are going to see, and obviously they see that you have the balance under control. They're going to see that you're someone that's responsible. They're going to view you as someone that's responsible with money, that can actually pay off their debt on time, and is not can be trusted with money, right? If you've got credit card balances that have stayed consistent for a long time, it gives them it gives credit lenders a bit of comfort knowing, hey, this is someone that's had a credit card open. He's responsible with his money. He hasn't maxed it out. He hasn't put himself in a financially bad position. And because of that, they'll view you as someone who's a bit more responsible and therefore more willing to lend to you, right? So, but whereas if you close off your any credit cards that you have, any credit card accounts that you have, you just close it off. It actually, they're not going to be able to access the history from that card, basically, right? So there's you don't have any credit history from that card, essentially. So keeping your credit cards open but having it at a low balance not only shows that you're really responsible with money and that you can keep that consistently going over a long period of time, but also on a side note, having a lot of having credit cards around with low balances is also a good way to have it as aside as an emergency fund per se, right? So if you've actually got all these credit cards on hand, right, let's say 2 or 3, let's just say 2 for most beginners is probably better. You have these credit cards on hand with low balances, which means you have quite a bit of liquidity there if you should ever need to pay off an emergency bill, or something crazy should happen. You've got those on hand as well to use as an emergency fund per se, right? So that's kind of a 2-for-1 tip there for you, right? So keep the credit cards open, but keep them in low, at a low balance. Don't close your credit card accounts. And that's going to bring us to the 5th and final tip for today, and that's avoid making multiple credit applications at a short period of time or consecutively, right? So what tends to happen is when you apply for credit, that credit lender is actually going to read your credit report, right? And if they go to read your credit report and they see that you've actually have a bunch of these queries, because all of these queries get noted on your credit report, right? And if the credit lender sees that you have a bunch of queries whereby you're applying for credit, to them, this might actually come across as someone who's been rejected, by other lenders, and you panic and you get a little bit desperate, so you just start applying, right? So to a credit lender, seeing a whole bunch of applications for credit, especially if it's all in a relatively short period of time, might make you seem like you come across as desperate to get a loan, right? Because you're constantly applying, and it just looks like you're getting rejected and you're panicking, and then you're trying to apply, right? You can kind of see how that makes you kind of, a bit more like standoffish when you're like, okay, this guy is looking a little bit, like he's really needing money, right? And if you're someone who's really desperate to get a loan, obviously that's not someone who's in a good financial position, right? So they will actually see you as a bit more of a risky play to lend money to you. So what will happen is, if they do lend to you, they're either going to lend to you with really strict terms and conditions, a la really high interest rates, or they're not going to lend to you at all, right? So the outcome of you applying is it's going to hurt your credit score, it's going to bring it down, and of course, if you do get approved, it's just going to increase your credits, your interest rates, but it also increases the chance that they're not going to approve your loan at all, right? So those are some mistakes that you do need to avoid when it comes to applying for credit or when it comes to building up your credit score, right? Really, really simple stuff, nothing too fancy, but it's the basics. When it really comes to building up a credit score, the main thing is to have discipline, right? That's the biggest thing when it comes to building, especially with finances in general, right? It's just about having the discipline to stick to not overstretch yourself financially, to stick within your means, to live on less than you earn, spend less than you earn, and just stick to the basics, and then you'll get there, right? So especially when it comes to, again, building your credit score, right? So guys, those are really, really simple tips, right? 5 things that you can do right now, starting today. You can actually just do it sitting at your computer, on your phone. Really, really simple. Get started today, because when it comes to the time where you're going to apply for that big loan, whether you're applying for a car loan or you're going to apply for that mortgage one day, obviously you can save yourself thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in interest payments just by having a really, really good credit score, right? So if you got value out of the video today, please consider liking the video. Again, it helps out quite a bit. Subscribe to the channel for the next and turn on your notifications to get notified when I put up the next video. But thank you so much for sticking around this long. I really, really do appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.